Hey everyone, it's Tuesday, which can only mean a zillion things, including it's time for Sarah and I to have a talk. Hello, Mer Goddess.
Yay! Hey, waving on in or to the side, up, down.
Uh, what you got today?
Well, right now I just finished a weight training workout and I have this tiny little thing of some cranberries and maybe some almonds. And that's what I got right now. If you're talking right now,
Right?
this is where I'm at.
Okay. Yeah, so I
Yep.
got I got the now going. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I kind of wanted to share that um, I have been kind of depressed lately.
Mm.
And curious to talk with you about it because I know you have experienced a very wide range of emotional and psychological states in your life,
Mm-hmm.
and partly the depression feels like very now, like just being in this situation, like almost like you go into a hot room, you start feeling hot. It's like not your fault or something wrong with you. It's just how
Uh-huh.
things are. Like being in this situation kind of reduces my energy, my drive for certain things. But also, it feels like this situation, the pandemic, the lockdown, the uncertainty has triggered stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
old stuff has come up. And so I'm trying to view this depression not as, oh God, here it goes again, but oh, here it comes up with an opportunity to examine it and work through it. It's almost like there's I can function so well while still having unresolved issues that will lead to depression when things aren't going well, when I don't get the contract, when people don't buy the thing, when my kids are fighting, whatever. Like then the depression can rear up again. But
Mm-hmm.
here's an opportunity, it feels like, for me to just to be with it and to go down and explore and see if I can do some gardening and find its roots and pull it up. And I'm wondering whether you have had that experience during this lockdown. I know you're one of the most sort of relentlessly positive, optimistic people I
Yeah.
know. But but whether that means you don't have those anymore or whether it means you're using them as kind of, compost and fertilizer.
Yeah. Well, so I'll say I definitely have experienced, some different feelings, especially during this time. Like, and I found that's what I found like during April was I was going for more like comfort food. Like, of course, it was still, vegan and gluten free, but like, what does that even mean by me just wanting to go to that coffee or go to that, kind of thing. And so I decided to do this experiment of going raw. And so a lot actually more is coming up for me now that I'm going raw and I'm only eating fruits and vegetables. I don't have anything processed. I'm not doing oil, sugar, or salt. So this is like so actually like there's a lot going on. And so what I've found that works really well is have you ever done like tapping before?
Uh-huh.
Where you're in I know, I mean, you've done like so many like breathing exercises and you teach all these different types of things, but one thing that has really worked for me is tapping. And just like when I'm feeling those emotions, I just start tapping and just finding things that I'm really grateful for.
Mhm.
Like right now, like, we have this little basement in our home, and when it rains, it floods. And I have been like super triggered about like having to do weights down there and like, oh my gosh, like why couldn't I just have like an ocean during the pandemic, or I'm not swimming, like all these things. But then I just have to like not have to, but I just want to go back and say like, wow, at least I have like a bench press that I can like still do my weight training. And like what else can I look at this time to strengthen myself so that when I come out of this, it'll be even better. Like like even like there was someone that's told, they were like, "Oh, you should do these like webinars with us," and of course like I'm like, "Oh, I want to do more work," cuz just like you, right? It's like, "Oh, I'm still like in this mindset of like what else can I do?" Because there's only so much exercise you can do in one day. And my job is exercising, right? So like
Right.
there's points where like I get like kind of like, oh, I want to do something, but again, I just sit in meditation and just remind myself that this is the journey that I chose and this is where it is. Everyone is in a state of like unknowing right now, right? What a perfect opportunity for the entire planet to kind of feel how I've felt for the past, 5 years or so, and like, and understanding it more as I am growing and expanding myself.
So a couple of things come up for me there. One is it's much easier to stuff down those negative emotions with a cookie than with a banana.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. And I'll tell you this today. So today I'm trying Dr. Graham's thing where he eats like 27 bananas, right? And like for breakfast and lunch, right? So I've just had 5 bananas today. And I was telling Captain America, I was like, like now that I've only had 5 bananas, like I really am craving like flavor. Like I want like something like that I don't really want, but like inside it's telling me. But so then I look at that as like, is that just like a pattern? Like, what is that? So like I'm now able to look at food in like a totally different way and also connect it to my emotions, because it's
Hmm.
definitely connected to your emotions, right? Like, I mean, it's just a natural thing. Like, oh, now I'm not really going outside as much because everything I need is in my home. So then it's like, well, I could just like go out and look at the birds, but like a part of you like always needs some kind of destination to go to, right? To then do that thing. And so again, it's just an opportunity to look at these things and see what you can do better or how you can let it go so that you can invite new energy in. Because that's what I think all this is doing, is like it's allowing everything that's not working for us to come up and then allow for what is working for us to kind of settle in and invite more of that in.
Yeah. Last night I read a quote by Warren Buffett that reminds me of like how I'm feeling now. It's when the tide goes out, you find out who's been swimming naked. Right. And it feels like the tide has gone out. Like when I don't indulge in the junk food, and there's lots of other junk that I have found myself indulging in, like
Mm.
like Facebook junk. Like I'm a little bit addicted to outrage right now, and there's plenty of things to be outraged about, right?
Totally.
Right?
Yes.
Like, and they say if you're not outraged, you're not paying attention. But like that becomes my diet, and so
Mm-hmm.
I, it feels like when the tide goes out is like when I stop indulging these negative dopamine hits, these seductions of I'm going to feel better for 5 minutes now, and then it's going to, I'm going to get some sort of hangover, whether it's an outrage hangover or, a self-righteousness hangover or a sugar hangover or a salt or fat hangover. Uh,
Totally.
that I'm like I have to break some habits, and so I've starting my day with, and this was based on a conversation I had with Glenn Murphy, my martial arts instructor. Starting my day even before I meditate, which is like meditation is kind of like achievement orientation for me a little bit. Like I want to meditate well. He says before you even do that, like I'm spending 10 minutes breathing and just noticing my breathing without even trying to meditate about it, without even trying to be good or aware or mindful, just see what my body's doing. And so starting the day with that and resisting my phone really for maybe an hour or two after I get up. And then at night, watching sort of spiritually or emotionally uplifting things rather than cop shows or people screaming at each other on YouTube.
Totally. Yeah, like that's interesting because even myself, I found like all of my devices, I don't actually use a phone, haven't used a phone in a good maybe 5 years or so now. And I just use an iPad and a laptop. And so what I've been doing is I've been shutting off my Wi-Fi so that I can like disengage a lot more and just be more present with myself. And I can find there's things that come up for that too. It's like, oh, but like I want to like just browse and see what's going on, but then like literally when you undo your Wi-Fi and then you see that literally nothing's going on, you're like, okay, what is this thing that I need to like feel something outside of myself, right? Because we like all of us have everything we need inside of us. So what have we trained? What has been going on that has limited us from believing that, right?
Mm.
And so that's what I've been kind of playing with too, is like, and things are coming up, but I'm just allowing them to come up, and whatever is being there, I just allow it to be, whether I want to sit and cry or I want to sit in anger or, whatever that looks like, just allowing it to be there. And then I feel so much better. Like I had done a manifesting Monday, like last week. And I had said about, feeling your feelings, like how important it was to feel your feelings. And I even got a call from one of my friends. She's like, "Are you okay? Like, you just look so down." And I was like, well, in that moment I was down, but I wanted to show people that like literally like I felt better after even posting that video.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's amazing, like just what happens when you just allow it and you don't try to shove it down or eat it or binge watch it or whatever that may be, right?
Yeah, no, our quantum is on. She says, I'm more in frustration mode right now. My brain is trying to imagine a path forward, and it keeps hitting the cul-de-sacs in this crazy maze. So, my only thought about that, and this is me talking to myself, is, yeah, our brains, that's what they do. Like that's their food, is thinking about the future. And so what's present is, oh, I have a brain that's thinking about the future, and it doesn't know. It doesn't have enough information. It's like it's trying to make, a cookie recipe without the flour, sugar, eggs, salt, and butter. And so it's like just sort of running around in the cookbook, because we don't have the ingredients to let us know what will be. So I think for me, all there is like when I'm frustrated and angry and upset and pessimistic, it's always because I'm thinking about the future or the past. And
Totally.
there's a lot of time when I'm not totally thinking about the future or the past, but I'm partially thinking about the future or the past. And whenever I focus 100%, and so Elizabeth, like when you play your cello, are you 100% in the cello? I'm guessing yes. And like at that moment, is your brain driving you crazy? Probably not. So I think that the discipline, and this is why I'm still doing the meditation and all the other stuff, for me, the discipline is when I discover that I'm agitated or in some way expressing and feeling a negative emotion, the immediate antidote is to focus and commit 100% to what I'm doing right here, right now.
Totally. Yeah, and I think one other piece that I've been looking at too is like just understanding that the mind, the ego, its job is to observe what's going on, not necessarily predicting how things are going to go. It's just literally like, here we're in the moment. Oh, look, an apple. I'm going to eat that now, but we've been trained that we look into the future, we look into the past, and we get so distracted by all of this that we have no idea that what we're creating now in this moment actually creates what it is that we want in the future. So if you know that, the mind is nothing but a telescope thing that you're just looking at, then you can know that whatever it is you're doing right now, it's going to propel you to that future that you're looking for. And all of us have the opportunity, especially now, to look at that and look at our world as a whole and be able to envision beauty and, just all these really great things. Like, that's all I do all day long, is imagine a world that I would love to co-create in, and that like brings me joy, and I don't have to think about what's happening now, because I know what's happening now is for the benefit of everyone, and we can again learn from this, and not look at it as a scary time, but more of a releasing and renewing time to better ourselves and our planet.
Yeah, it's a funny paradox because like the ego mind is a prediction machine, right? Like that's how we survive. And yet, in order to predict, here's the paradox: we have to be exquisitely present to what's going on right now. Like the predictions sort of take care of themselves. Like, for example, you talked about an apple. So if we were foraging in the wild and you came across an orchard and there were apple blossoms, the prediction part of your brain would say, oh, look, apple blossoms. In 3 months, I think we might have some fruit, right? But if you're thinking about the fruit, you're going to miss the blossoms,
Mm-hmm.
right? So so the
Exactly.
beautiful paradox is the exquisite focus on the present is what allows the future prediction trick of the brain to actually be accurate.
Exactly. And so then if we become aware of that, then there's nothing to fear, there's nothing to be frustrated about, there's really nothing that we can do, only to be our best selves right now in this moment.
Right. And so for me, the depression is an invitation to focus on something 100%. Because to me, depression is sort of like I've got my foot on the gas and the brake at the same time, or I'm in two different cars trying to go in two different directions, or I'm stuck going nowhere. And so whatever it is, whether it's, I cleaned the kitchen today. I'm starting to make a couple of videos. And like I cleaned the kitchen so well. Like I want a degree. You should see. Like, I discovered that this Instant Pot that I've had for like 6 years, I never took off the plastic protector of the display, and so I did it. Now it's not nice and shiny. Like that gave me so much pleasure, and it was all there was, and it was all there needed to be in that moment. It was just cleaning the kitchen, and now I have a clean
Mhm.
kitchen, and now I'm talking to you, and some part of my brain is going, I can't wait till we stop so I can go make more videos. And so okay, so I'm noticing that. Part of me is trying to escape from this into the future. So what happens when I do that? I stop paying attention to you. I start thinking about what the next thing is. I start becoming a little bit impatient and agitated, and that triggers the depression again. And the solution is, again, here you are. Here I am.
Exactly.
It's
And
me
this is
again.
all that is. There's nothing else going on but now, and what's fascinating to me is that when I was in these situations before, where, I mean, I really didn't have any money, I had no idea how any of it was going to happen. I really was panicking about the past and the future, and I wasn't able to enjoy all of the beautiful things that were happening to me along the way, because I was so far worried about what was going to happen, and then concerned about what was happening yesterday was going to affect tomorrow, and then I wasn't even here. So for me, like, this is an opportunity for me to be even more present and just really master, allowing my ego to be what it was always meant to be, and that's the observer, and just see what I create from that. Like, I mean, I really try not to plan or anything. I'm just really in the moment, and excited for the next moment.
Right. Nice.
Cool. So I think my advice for you is that feel it, notice it, be aware of it, and just release it, and know that it doesn't serve you anymore, and that's why it's coming up, so that you can be more present, so that you can be here and attract more things that you want into your life without all of that now.
Beautiful. Right. So I'm going to stop stuffing it down and let it arise and float away. And that's
Exactly.
not to say that I'm not going to get help, right? Like
Yeah.
Like, it's not to say all I need to do is be present. Like, there are professionals who can help me, and being
Yes.
present is partly about knowing when to ask for help and knowing whom to ask for help and knowing that asking for help isn't an indictment. It's a sign of strength.
Exactly. And who knows what can be created with that help and with you being vulnerable and accepting that and being okay with it, you know?
Right on.
Cool.
All right. Well,
Awesome.
thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Elizabeth,
Thank
for
you.
your
Thank
questions
you,
and commentary.
Elizabeth. Cool.
And
Awesome. Well, this was fun. See you
yeah,
next week then.
see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.